Now, we were just hearing from Bank of Japan Governor Haruhiko Kuroda, and he's saying that the Bank of Japan's got enough ammunition left to do something big if required, be that going further into negative rates, lowering the 10-year target, more asset purchases. The barrel, though, is starting to look quite empty, though, don't you think?
Yes, and in the bigger scheme of things, Japan does have a lot of uncertainties to grapple with. First of all, on the trade front, it does have to deal with the growing uncertainties, not just between the United States and China, but the United States and the world, and its own relationship with the United States. It also has a lot of domestic economic concerns, especially at the moment about financing retirement funds. Ironically, one of the light aspects of the bright spot in Japan at the moment is on the political front, especially on the diplomatic front, where Japan can actually punch above its weight and reach out to Iran on behalf of the global community. But on the economic front, the downside risks really do continue to plague Japan.
Yeah, let's return to the international and the trade front in a moment. But domestically, I just want to have a look at this chart on the Bloomberg, and it just shows exactly how low Japan's interest rates have got. This is over 20 years, and you can see we're well into negative territory there with no sign of popping our heads above it. But more to the point, but Bank of Japan's entire balance sheet is now bigger than all of the Japanese economy. How do you unwind a position like that?
It's with great difficulty. The good news, of course, is that this is nothing new. And so Japan has been grappling with this reality for quite some time. The only problem is that the issue has only escalated in its scale. So yes, there is a limit as to what the Bank of Japan can do. Perhaps the better thing to say about the Bank of Japan's policy at the moment is less about its confidence in what it can do, or perhaps it's more a question of its hands are tied and it has a very limited toolkit to work with at the moment.
So let's talk about the diplomacy and the international standing of Japan, because you mentioned that was a bright spot, but I thought that President Trump's recent visit to Japan in May really showed how at odds he was with Japanese officials, whether it was on a trade deal deadline or on North Korea. So what are relations like between the two countries right now?
Very testy. On the surface, it is supposed to be a strong relationship, and certainly when we saw the summit meeting, there had been plenty of optical opportunities to show unity between the two countries. But of course, the trade issue really drives a big wedge between the two, and there is continued uncertainty, not least about the possibility of imposing the Section 232 on the Japanese auto sector and pursuing a bilateral trade deal that would not necessarily be to Japan's advantage, and certainly the possibility of going beyond the TPP agreement. But that said, when it comes to the political front, I do point out this Iran issue because, one, it does provide an opportunity for Abe himself to really shine in the global stage, but also it does provide a new outlet for Japan to really punch above its weight. Japan, yes, it does depend heavily on oil from Iran, but at the same time, it can be seen as an honest broker because it is politically neutral. It doesn't have the religious issues that some of the other countries may be concerned with, and at the same time, it does have that pipeline, that communication pipeline with the Trump administration.